I know what you're all thinking. How the hell did what we saw in the last chapter even happen? Well, I'm here to tell you, I might be the only one who's got the answers. But the thing is, a lot of you don't even give me a proper chance to explain my ideas. Most of you click off after just a few minutes. But I'm telling you, give this small creator a shot. Let me entertain you. You won't regret it. Because in chapter 1150, something happened that we never thought was even possible. Emu, who had just taken over Gunko's body one chapter earlier, has somehow turned our favorite giants Dorry and Broggy into obedient battle demons. Yep, just like that. From what we saw, it looks like Emu forced some kind of diabolical covenant on them. They spawn a pentagram beneath their feet, make one smooth motion from top to bottom, and BAM! Suddenly, they are bloodthirsty demon giants. And of course, we can't forget the magic words, Domi Reversi. But seriously, how is that even possible? How can two of Elba's strongest warriors, literal legends, be flipped so easily? Does this mean Emu can just turn anyone into a loyal servant whenever they want? Or is there more going on here? Could there be certain conditions that have to be met? Rules or limitations we just haven't figured out yet? Now, I believe there might actually be several factors at play here, but let's start with the most important one. Timing, because something huge is clearly going wrong on the planet right now. Not only is our crew getting closer than ever to the One Piece, but the Revolutionary Army is gearing up. Major pirate crews are preparing for what feels like the final battle, and even the Marines in the Secret Sword unit are on high alert. But above all else, right now, the Holy Land, Marie Joas, is literally engulfed in flames, and that makes me ask, why? Who or what is causing chaos among the Celestial Dragons, and why now of all times? Could it be the Refs, Neomads, or maybe even Luffy's Grand Fleet? No, I think the ones stirring up trouble in Marie Joas, and who are crazy enough to actually pull this off, are the Blackbeard Pirates. I believe our good old friend Teach is after something crucial for completing his plans. He may have been biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and now that the Holy Knights are all busy on missions across the world and Marie Joas is already weakened from recent events, it wouldn't surprise me if Luffy, acting as the spy, gave the green light to go. Teach isn't the type to waste time, and with the powers his crew brings to the table, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to cause major damage in the Holy Land. In fact, Emu even pops into Elba through their weird demon link just to tell their minions that they need reinforcements. That alone tells you how serious the situation must be in Marie Joas. But I know what you're wondering. What exactly is Blackbeard trying to steal? Well, I'm pretty confident he knows about the Mother Flame, and he's got his eye on it. But let's bring it back to the bigger point, the timing. What does all of this have to do with why now might be the perfect moment to create obedient servants with no resistance? Well, I believe this has to do with a topic that we rarely touched so far in One Piece, but which has always been lingering in the back. Space. And here's where things start to feel a little too perfect, or should I say, perfectly aligned? Because, what if right now, in the world of One Piece, the cosmic conditions are just right for Emu to unleash powers that normally lie dormant? Sounds far-fetched? Not really, because in medieval astrology and occult philosophy, when the planets align, and I mean all of them, it was seen as a massive omen. A moment where the boundary between heaven and hell, between gods and men, begins to collapse. Astrologers across Europe and the Middle East believed these so-called grand conjunctions or planetary alignments mark the start of world-changing events. For example, the end of an age, the return of ancient gods or demons, the birth of a new era, sometimes even a new messiah. Take Al-Bumasar, a Persian astrologer from the 9th century, whose work was so influential it was read by Christian monks and scholars for centuries. He claimed that when Jupiter and Saturn align in fire signs, it marks the rise of new religions, prophets and world orders. And Kepler actually believed the Great Conjunction of 1603 signaled changes in kingships and faith. Then there's the infamous case of 1524. Almost every known planet clustered in the sign of Pisces. Over 160 different texts were published, warning that the world was about to end. Floods, the Antichrist, even demons breaking into our world. People literally build boats. No kidding. So how does this connect to the One Piece? Imagine this. The planets in that world are aligned. Celestial forces are shifting, and in that rare once-in-a-century moment, Imu, a figure who might be more than just a tyrant, maybe even a forgotten god of darkness, is finally able to channel ancient hellish power. The kind that lets him forge demonic contracts, twist souls and raise loyal monsters. Meanwhile, Nika, Luffy, is awakening too, and what happens when a dark god rises at the exact same time as the god of liberation? A new age begins, one built on fire, chaos and revelation. And for all of you Disney fans out there, the ones who keep pointing out how much Oda might have been inspired by Disney, well, just think of this scene right here.
Precisely. The planets will align ever so nicely.
Aye, verse, aye.
The time to act will be at hand. Unleash the Titans, you monstrous band.
Good.
Then the once proud Zeus will finally fall. And you, Hades, will rule all!
Yes, Hades rules!
A word of caution to this tale.
Excuse me?
Should Hercules fight, you will fail.
It could actually explain why Imu hasn't already gone on a little world tour, turning everyone into obedient little puppets. Maybe they simply couldn't. Not until now at least. Sure, Imu might have immense powers, but I believe those powers are normally bound to one place, Marie Joas. Because something must exist there. Something that gives Imu the ability to channel and distribute these dark powers to their followers. Like I said, in a previous video, Imu doesn't use their powers directly on the battlefield. Instead, they delegate. They grant powers to loyal subjects and can revoke them at any time. But here's where we need to draw an important distinction. People like the Five Elders or the Holy Knights most likely entered into a voluntary pact with Imu. They agreed, maybe even wanted this deal. And in return, they got extra powers and possibly even immortality. But Dorry and Broggy? Totally different story. They didn't agree to anything. In fact, Imu forced a contract upon them. And what's wild is that it seems to have cost them a chunk of their lifespan. Now ask yourself, why? Why take their lifespan if they're just going to be immortal afterwards anyway? The contradiction right there tells me one thing. There's a chance they can be turned back, that their transformation isn't permanent, that there's a cost and a loophole. Why else would the lifespan be the price? So to me, there are two kinds of contracts in this world. The willing kind, where you know what you're getting into, and the kind that gets shoved down your throat. Like clicking I agree without reading the fine print, and the next thing you know, you're standing in a creepy pentagram and the whole world flips upside down. But we're not done yet, because I believe there's another condition for forced transformation, and that's the emotional state of the victim. I think Imu can forcefully flip people when they are consumed by emotions like rage, grief, or desperation. Why do I think that? Two reasons. First, look at Dorry and Broggy. They are clearly furious in that moment, but also desperate. Their homeland is under attack out of nowhere. Their people are in danger, and their entire legacy is on the brink of destruction. That emotional turmoil might be what makes them vulnerable to Imu's power. Second, and maybe even more importantly, I don't think people filled with joy, hope or laughter can be controlled in this way. And the reason? Simple. Imu freaked the hell out when they felt Joyboy's haki as MF broke the seal. We know Joyboy had the power of Nika, and now Luffy has inherited that same power. And when Luffy goes Gear 5, he doesn't even understand what fear or despair is anymore. He literally laughed his guts out when Epigrams died. Nika is freedom. Nika is joy. And that makes this power the most dangerous thing Imu has ever faced. So I'm convinced, people filled with those warm, liberating emotions, laughter, love, hope, can't be flipped by Imu. Not ever. And there you have it. I truly believe that up until now, Imu could only operate from within the Holy Land because the circumstances simply wouldn't allow otherwise. But now, whether it's due to the planetary alignment, the chaos across the world, or some other unknown shift, something has changed. Just look at Killingham. The guy was visibly shocked when he suddenly felt Emu's presence. That wasn't supposed to happen. That kind of power shouldn't have reached that far. So yeah, something definitely has changed. But there's another question. Why does Emu speak as if they are simply transferring powers to others? Some people in the community have speculated that Emu is the devil themselves. But if you ask me, nah. Emu is not the devil, they're just the administrator of these powers. I believe Emu is channeling this power straight from hell itself, like from the devil, capital D. Yeah, I know, that sounds crazy, right? But look at that cursed book they summon. It's like something straight from the underworld, a book darker than the Necronomicon itself. And Emu doesn't even say anything, they just open it and boom, weapons appear. As if hell itself responds to their silent command. So if Luffy has the power of the god of liberation, Nika, then Emu holds the power of the god of oppression, the devil. And let's be honest, this fight ain't gonna be easy. But if anyone can break the curse and bring Dorry and Broggy back, it's Luffy. No other people in the world are as deeply connected to the legend of Nika as the Giants of Elbaf. So when they finally lay eyes on Luffy in his divine form, that moment could spark the beginning of their inner struggle. Luffy will be his chaotic, silly, ridiculous self, probably laughing like an idiot and twisting reality into rubber. And Dorry and Broggy? They'll be laughing so hard their massive bellies ache. And just like that, their world will flip upside down. Again. Only this time, they'll be left with a skull. A piece of their lifespan stolen. But man, I really want them back. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Was that all complete nonsense? Or is there actually something to this theory? And could Emu actually manage to flip members of the Straw Hat crew next? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. MARTH out.